بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to start the fifth term of Hujjat Academy. And it's a great pleasure to be here with you in our joint effort to add to our knowledge, to seek better understanding of Islam, and inshallah to be better Muslims. As you remember, we already discuss most of Unit 6 from Islamic belief system. We have one more session, which is today, to finish this unit. And inshallah, next week we will talk about last unit of the book Islamic belief system, which is about felicity. And then, after we finish this book, we will start our discussion about Imam. Those who have been here, so they know that every week lectures are uploaded quickly. So if you miss, or if you want to listen again, or those who are joining us just now, if they want to catch up with the previous term, so please refer to those recorded lectures. We have already talked about arguments for resurrection. We have talked about the definition of death. What is our understanding of death? We have already talked about barzakh and what people go through when they die, and also about the resurrection. Now, the last few pages start with some description about what happens just before the day of resurrection happens, how everything in this world would be changed, would be affected, and how when the first trumpet is blown, everyone, every living being will die in this physical, natural world, and when the second trumpet is blown, then they will be revived. There are some details that, inshallah, you can read yourself. What we want to discuss is that when the resurrection happens and people are going to be present before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and will be held accountable for what they have done, and more importantly for what they have been, because not just what we have done, it's also what we have been, what type of person we were, what type of understanding and aqad we had, what type of qualities we have had. So everything will be considered. There is no aspect of us which is going to be neglected. Even our thoughts, even our intentions, even our very little words, everything is going to be taken into account. Quran in chapter 18, verse 49, refers to the surprise of people, especially the criminals and sinful people. They say, وَيَقُولُونَ يَا وَيْلَتَنَا. ما لهذا الكتاب لا يغادر صغيرة ولا كبيرة إلا أحصاها. They are shocked. There is nothing big or small unless in the record is registered. وَوَجَدُوا مَا عَمِلُوا حَاضِرًا. Not only it is registered, but they have actually opportunity to see what they have done. They see what they have done, حاضرًا, it's present. As remember when we talked about relation between our actions and reward and punishment, we said we believe that our own actions will be present. We believe in the embodiment of actions. وَجَدُوا مَا عَمِلُوا حَاضِرًا. They find everything that they have done is present. وَلَا يَظْلِمُ رَبُّكَ أَحَدًا. Allah is not going to do injustice to any person. No one is going to be worried about injustice. Everyone is just worried about justice. Because they know that if they are judged according to what they have done, and if they are given what they really deserve, they will have difficulties. Their hope is Allah will treat them with forgiveness, with generosity. Otherwise, justice would be worrying. This is why in dua we say, إِلَهَنَا عَامِلْنَا بِفَضْلِكَ وَلَا تُعَامِلْنَا بِعَدْلِكَ. Oh Allah, please treat us with your graciousness, with your favor, not with your justice. Not in the sense that when we say don't treat us with justice, means treat us with injustice. Means treat us with something more gracious than justice. Because justice means to give people what they deserve. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, please give us more than what we deserve. Which of course, in a sense, it is again justice, but this is justice in a broader sense. So, if someone has given me some money, or if I, for example, owe him to, pay, for example, for his salary, whatever, if I give him exactly the amount that I owe him, this is justice. If I give him more, again, this is justice, but this is not justice in the sense of you give him what he deserves. It means you are not giving him less than what he deserves, but you are giving more than what. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time not to treat us with justice and not to give us what we deserve. We have no worry about being treated unjustly. Our worry is to be treated justly. The Quran says that people are going to be given their book of deeds either to the right hand or left hand. Those who are going to be given their book of deeds in the right hand, they will be very happy and they would like to show it to other people. أَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِيَمِينِهِ فَيَقُولُ هَاؤُمُ اقْرَءُوا كِتَابِيَهْ. Like a person who goes and takes results of a school or university and has all A stars, wants to show everyone. But those who have been given the record of this to the left hand, then they are very, very deeply sad. And the Quran says, وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِشِمَالِهِ فَيَقُولُ يَا لَيْتَنِي لَمْ أُوتَ كِتَابِيَهْ. He says, I wish I was not given my book of deeds. At least before being given, I had a little, maybe, hope. Now I know I have failed. But this is going to happen to everyone. I hope, inshallah, Allah will give it to our right hand. There would be, in addition to this book which registers everything, we would have also witnesses. Angels are going to bear witness. There are angels who are commissioned to register everything we do, so they will bear witness. There would be, for every generation also a witness from themselves. As you remember when we talked about the concept of shaheed in Lessons on Islamic Beliefs, we talked about this, that how Allah brings from every generation a person who would bear witness about what they have done. لَنَنْزَعَنَّ مِنْ كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ شَهِيدًا. In addition to angels and those infallible witnesses, we have also our own organs who would bear witness. Our own skin will offer his testimony. They see that their own skin is saying that he has committed some sins. And they say to their skin, لَمَا شَهِدْتُمْ عَلَيْنَا. Why are you bearing witness against us? قَالُوا أَنْتَقَنَا اللَّهُ الَّذِي أَنْتَقَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. Allah made us speak. He's the one who makes everything speak. So we cannot disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that everything will be carefully examined and nothing is going to be remain unnoticed. You might have heard this story about the Grand Ayatollah Burujerdi Rahmatullah Alayh. Towards end of his life, when he was very close to his departure, there was a meeting. There were many ulama, great ulama, many of his students who were themselves mujtahideen, and they realized that he is very concerned. So they started talking about his services. You have trained hundreds of people, tens of mujtahideen. You have published books. You have made Masjid al-Azan. You have made Masjid Imam Ali in Hamburg. You have done lots of services. But he said to them, خلص العمل or أخلص العمل فإن الناقد بصير. You must purify your action, because the one who is going to examine them, he would see everything. You are telling me about what I have done, but Allah's evaluation is important. You have good opinion about me, but that's not going to help me. What is going to help me is whether Allah is finding them sincere, pure, and acceptable or not. إِنَّ النَّاقِدَ بَصِيرٌ. Naqd in Arabic means evaluation of coins. Naqad al-dirham means to examine whether this is fake coin or real coin. So it is used for evaluation. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to evaluate everything. The next thing that we have in this is that after people are resurrected, there would be a distinction, a separation between good people and bad people. And bad people will be taken away or will be asked to go away from good people. Those who are good, those who have been kind, nice, pious, they will be very, very happy, very, very joyful. وجوه يومئذ ناظرة إلى ربها ناظرة. They are very happy. When you look at their face, you see signs of full excitement and joy, and their faces are bright. and they want to look at their Lord. Of course, it's not a physical glance at, but it means that they are very much happy to be present before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But those who are criminals, they are full of grief and embarrassment, and they want to just hide themselves, and they just want to look down. So these are different experiences. وجوه يومئذ عليها غبرة ترهقها قترة. Some of them, their faces are like people who are dusted. It's not bright, it's not showing any sign of joy. And especially the Quran tells about also munafiqeen, that munafiqeen who would lack light, they would try to get some light from mu'mineen. In Surah Hadid and also in Surah Tahrim, in two places, we have this idea that mu'mineen, يَوْمَ تَرَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ نُورُهُمْ يَسْعَى بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَبِأَيْمَانِهِمْ. Similar, but there are some differences in wording, are in these two surahs. Mu'mineen, not only they have light, but the light goes fast in front of them and on the right side. بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَبِأَيْمَانِهِمْ. Perhaps the right side, because they have the record of their deeds in the right hand, which is full of hasanat, so they have light in front of them and on the right side. And this nur is so excited that goes fast in front of them. Yas'a nuruhum. It's not static. The light by itself is dynamic, wants to go fast towards heaven and take them to heaven and lead them to heaven. But munafiqeen, they have no light. يقول المنافقون والمنافقات للذين آمنوا انظرونا نقتبس من نوركم. They say to mu'mineen, look at us or let us. Because انظروا can mean look at us or let us take some of your light. So they want to borrow or steal light from mu'mineen. They don't understand, or they don't want to understand, that light is not something that you can get it there. You have to get it from dunya. قِيلَ ارْجِعُوا وَرَاءَكُمْ فَالْتَمِسُوا نُورًا. They are told, go back, seek light. Meaning that you cannot get light from mu'mineen. You must go away from them. And perhaps it means, see, have you done anything in dunya that could give you light? And after that, فَضُرِبَ بَيْنَهُمْ بِسُورٍ. Then a wall will be erected between them. So first, they were able to be close to mu'mineen, but there would be a wall between them and mu'mineen. لَهُ بَابٌ. This wall has a gate. باطنه فيه الرحمة وظاهره من قبله العذاب. The door has two sides. Internal side of the door is facing mu'mineen. Yeah? So it is rahmah. So if you look at the door for mu'mineen, this is rahmah. But zahiruhu, the outward, the outside of the door, is adab. Why? Because where do you put the wall? You put the wall to protect mu'mineen, not to protect munafiqeen. Yeah? So like for example, at home, you put door to protect yourself against heat, against cold, against animals, against thieves. So inside the door is where good people are. Outside is where danger or, thieves or animals, difficulties are there. Or for example, when it's very cold in winter, inside the door is warm, but the outside is cold. So, بَاطِنُهُ فِيهِ الرَّحْمَةِ, that side which is facing mu'mineen is good, is mercy, is rahmah. But ظَاهِرُهُ, ظاهر means the outward, is adhab. And then munafiqeen ask mu'mineen, Alam nakun ma'akum? This question is very, very sad, very worrying. Because you see that, may Allah not let happen, this happen to anyone. You see that people that you lived together, in the same family, the same community, neighbors, now one is on this side of the wall, the other one is on the other side of the wall. Because munafiq is not like kafir. Kafir and mu'min in dunya are separate normally. But munafiq is the one who was living among mu'mineen. So he says, Alam nakun ma'akum? Weren't we together? You are going to the same school, to the same masjid, to the same home? Qalu bala. Yes, you are together. لكنكم فتنتم أنفسكم وتربصتم وارتبتم. You have allowed shaitan to deceive you. You have been postponing. You have been going after unrealistic desires. غرتكم الأماني. So we were together, but unfortunately, you didn't take realities seriously, and you invested on just desires and dreams which were not realistic. So when we built for ourselves heaven, you only built for yourself bubbles of desires without any reality. So this is what is going to happen. Then we have a discussion about shafa'ah, intercession. For sure, there are people who are going to benefit from shafa'ah. And there are people who are going to do shafa'ah, to intercede. Prophets, imams, ulama, martyrs, angels, good people. Some people have not understood the Quranic position about shafa'ah. And therefore we have to explain that if you want to understand the Quranic position about imamah, you have to consider all the verses of the Quran about shafa'ah. If you take just one verse and try to understand, that may not give you the whole picture. So there are 4 types of verses in the Quran. You can say 3, but in the book is 4. Some verses of the Quran say that no one can do shafa'ah. And this means no one can do shafa'ah independently, without Allah's permission. Some verses say that Allah is the only shafi', the only one who can intercede. And some verses say that with the permission from Allah, there is possibility of shafa'ah. And some verses explains that what you need to have in order to qualify for receiving shafa'ah. So, different groups of verses in the Quran, and the overall conclusion is shafa'ah, first of all, primarily belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one can do shafa'ah by his own or her own. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give right to some people to do shafa'ah. But these people have to have some qualifications. These are the people that Allah should be pleased with them. And they can also do shafa'ah for some people, not for everyone. They cannot do shafa'ah, and of course they won't do, but even if supposedly they do, it's not going to be accepted if they do shafa'ah for a person who was, for example, mushrik, or a person who was intentionally rejecting the truth. He was a person who was insisting all the time on doing mischief. These are for people that have been trying to be good, but they have mistakes. Sometimes I use this example. I say, for example, you as a teacher may have students that have been coming to the school. Maybe they don't have 100% attendance, but 90% attendance. Sometimes they were absent, but most of the time they were coming to school. They were taking notes, they were doing their homework, but sometimes they were lazy, sometimes they didn't do things properly, sometimes they were naughty. But for the most part, they were very serious about their studies. So now they have taken few marks lower than passing mark. For example, if they have to take 60, they have taken 55, 50. So you can go to the principal and say, this person, all the year was coming, was taking notes, was a nice person, but has problems. I want to intercede. But if someone was not going to a school, or if he was going to a school, just was hitting people, not letting other people also to study, not taking any note, was making mockery of the teacher, or the books, or a school, who is going to do shafa'ah for him? Everyone actually will say, please, punish him. We don't want to be with this person, at least take him away from us. So shafa'ah is to fill a little gap for the people who try to be good, but something, sometimes happens. You make mistakes, you forget, you do things that you realize later that you were not supposed to do. Not for people who are systematically doing mischief. So shafa'ah is there, but it has some rules. Is this discrimination? No. This is not discrimination, because this is based on general rules. All people with the same conditions can benefit from shafa'ah. It's like, for example, we say a person who commits this crime or this illegal thing, this is the punishment. But at the same time, we may have some arrangements that, for example, if a person serves already some time in prison and is a good person in prison, he can be forgiven. Or, for example, if he has done some charity work, we may reduce his sentence. So, it's not only for this person, it's for everyone with that condition. It's general. Anyone who fits into this can benefit from it. Then there is a discussion about heaven and some mention of the blessings of heaven. Of course, in dunya, normally when we hear things or imagine them, they are better than when we find them in dunya. When you imagine and hear, you develop a bit better image of them. And this is why when you get them, you may not find exactly to be the same. In Akhirah is opposite. Whatever you hear about heaven, would fall short. Descriptions cannot do justice. So you would find this much greater than what you thought. And this is about the things that you can imagine. For example, we talk about honey, about milk, about water, about trees. Whatever you imagine, even if you are very creative, would fall short. Plus, there are things that would not even occur to your mind. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there are things in heaven that have never come to anyone's mind. No one has seen, no one has heard, and no one has been able to imagine. Of course, above all is to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with you. وَرَضْوَانٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ أَكْبَرُ. For a mu'min, there is nothing more comforting and more enjoyable than knowing Allah is pleased with you. That's the greatest pleasure for believers. And then about hell. They say there was an alim who was always talking about heaven. All the time. They told him, why you don't speak about hell? We have both hell and heaven. He said, because hell is where you are going to see yourself. So I only talk about heaven. But inshallah you are going to see heaven. So I talk about hell as well. So the punishment in hell again is much more than we can describe. Not only the pleasure of akhirah cannot be described and cannot be understood enough, the pain, some of the pain, Allah has used a language that is familiar to us. Burning, for example, fire. But these are not delivering the whole meaning. For example, if you want to explain to a little child, for example, 2 years old, 3 years old child, what a mother goes through when she loses her child. Or even worse, if the child is killed in front of the mother. How can you explain to a 2 years old child? You cannot explain. The maximum you can say, it's like someone comes and takes your toy from your hand. This is the way a child may understand a little bit. But is this the same thing? No one can understand what the mother is going to experience. So, when the fact that you know Allah is pleased with you is the greatest joy in heaven, now you tell me what would be the greatest pain in hell? I think the greatest pain in hell is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is denying himself to you. And this is why Amir al-Mu'minin says, حَبْنِي صَبَرْتُ عَلَىٰ عَذَابِكَ فَكَيْفَ أَصْبِرُ عَلَىٰ فَرَاقِكَ. Or أَنَ النَّظَرِ إِلَىٰ كَرَامَتِكَ. He has two sentences. Even if I can take physical pain, even if I can take, fire and boiling water, whatever, but the greatest pain is to know that Allah doesn't want you. I don't know if you have experienced this. When a child is very young, just like 2 years old, if you say to your child, I don't love you. It's the most terrible thing. Because a young child, for him, his father and mother are everything. We don't know how much we are causing pain to a child. Sometimes we say as a joke or, but this is very bad. Should never say to a child that I don't love you. Because it makes the whole world upside down. Now in Akhirah, when we are in maximum understanding and we know the value of relation with Allah, if you understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't like you, Allah is not pleased with you, Allah is angry with you, I think that would be the greatest suffering. The Quran tells us that people who are in hell or people who are sentenced to go to hell, sometimes they want to bring excuses. But they are not accepted. And sometimes Quran says, لَا يُؤْذَنُ لَهُمْ فَيَعْتَذُوا. They are not even given permission to bring excuses. Sometimes they start fighting. For example, those who have been following bad people, they start fighting. They say, why you misguided us? استبرأ الذين اتبعوا من الذين اتبعوا. Both of them, those who have been followed try to distance, those who followed try to distance themselves. They try to blame Shaitan. Why you deceived us? And Shaitan says, لا تلوموني ولوموا أنفسكم. Shaitan says, I didn't have remote control for anyone. We think Shaitan has remote control, but Shaitan has no remote control. Shaitan says, I texted you and you answered. I sent you message and you answered. I didn't have remote control. So blame yourself. And finally, there is a discussion about what are the outcomes of faith in resurrection. And we already talked about it in the beginning of this unit. But just a single point. If we don't believe in Akhirah, it would put us always in a condition of uncertainty and doubt and anxiety, because you are like a person who is moving towards the edge of a cliff. You are approaching nothingness. If you don't believe in resurrection, it means by death you are going to be nothing. This is very worrying. Even if you are alive, the fact that any moment you may become nothing makes your whole life miserable. But if you believe in resurrection, you believe that you are going to continue, you are going to survive death, and you know that everything that you do would be preserved for you. Nothing is going to remain unnoticed or not rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My last point, I hope everyone would remember this point. There is no way to do something good, to do something for the sake of Allah, and would not receive multiplied reward and appreciation. Even if people don't praise you, don't thank you, or even don't come to know. Sometimes I say it in this way, I say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not remain in debt to anyone. It's impossible. If we do a little good, certainly He is going to be generously showing His appreciation. So a mu'min who believes in this is much more confident, much more hopeful, even if he knows that he's going to die, but he knows that he's not going to finish So he tried to take every moment of life seriously, to do better and to do good things more. So this has great impact on us. Alhamdulillah, we finished this unit. Inshallah, bi'idhnillah. Next week we will start the last unit about felicity or happiness or as-sa'ada, inshallah. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.
So we will have questions and answers. Please, if there are any questions, please the ladies first.